On today's episode, I'm going to be sharing with you a simple yet incredibly effective shift in the way you think about your marketing that ensures whether you're launching a new Facebook ad campaign, trying to create Instagram marketing, or building a new website, your marketing stands the greatest chance of success, making sure you don't waste any time, money, or energy. So let's get to it. Hey there, my name is Erhart, marketing strategist, and welcome to The Marketing Show, where we help you grow your business and generate more customers, leads, and sales by making way better marketing. So if you're interested in learning the latest and greatest marketing strategies, tools, tips, tricks, and tactics, well, you may want to consider subscribing and hitting that notification bell. Alright, let's talk marketing. Specifically, one of the key frameworks that I use inside pretty much every piece of marketing that I ever create inside the agency or when helping my clients with their marketing. It's funny that I've been doing this for so long that this process has actually become pretty much unconscious, and I just sort of naturally go through it. So I thought I would take the time to explain it with you here so that you could use this exact same framework in all of your marketing, making sure that it just becomes that much more effective and generates that much more revenue for you and your business. Perhaps even funnier than how long I've been using this framework and how unconscious it really was is the fact that I actually first learned about this way back in grade 3, back when I was around, I think 8 years old, or however old you are in grade 3? 8 sounds about right. Anyway, it was in grade 3 that we first learned about this from a journalistic perspective, and it was essentially the 5 whys, or the who, what, where, when, and why, and of course sometimes how. And this is the framework that I want to share with you now, because when you apply this to your marketing, it basically ensures that your marketing is at least going to hit the mark, giving you some significantly better results than if you totally neglect knowing about these or applying them and sort of using them as a filter or criteria when you're building out a marketing campaign. So now that we've got that covered, we know we've got to look at the who, what, where, when, why, and sometimes how. In this case, pretty much always how. Well, let's dive right into it, starting off with the who. One of the single most important parts of your marketing is really dialing in that ideal customer avatar, that perfect customer that you're trying to create your marketing for. Because if you don't have them in mind, well, your marketing is pretty much going to miss the mark because you're going to be using terms that they either don't use, or you're going to be way too broad in your messaging, which is going to have you come off as kind of bland or boring or vanilla, and really then you're not going to appeal to anyone. This is why step 1 is really dialing in that ideal customer avatar, that who of who you're trying to reach. Basically, they're things like their demographic details, like age, gender, income, occupation, titles, things like that. Geographic details, like what city, state, province, country, or wherever they live, and of course, psychographic details, their attitudes, interests, behaviors, affiliations, organizations, basically everything that kind of makes up the mental game of your ideal customer. The better you're able to understand them and really know their miracles and their miseries. Their miracles being their wants, their dreams, their desires, everything they're after, and their miseries being their fears and frustrations and pains and everything they're trying to avoid. Well, the better you understand this, the better you're going to be able to position your marketing as the bridge that helps them get from their miseries over to their miracles, making you kind of the obvious choice to do business with. Alright, so now that you've dialed in your who, time to move on to your what. And your what is essentially going to be whatever offer that you're making or putting in front of them. The key here with an effective offer is to understand one of two things. The first of which is that your offer needs to be irresistible. Basically, it needs to be good enough that they're willing to take action and basically take you up on it. From there, we want to take a look at 2 different kinds of offers, one of which being a hard offer or direct offer, and one of which being a soft offer or transitional offer. Let me break down what those mean. Basically, a hard offer or direct offer is pretty much your main call to action to do business with you. So it would be like, buy my product or buy my service or hire me now, or whatever sort of gets them to take that action and basically involves kind of normally handing over money in exchange for whatever product or service you're delivering. A soft offer, on the other hand, or transitional offer, is something you can use to sort of help guide them into that harder offer because, as we're going to talk about in just a second, well, you don't always want to just come right out of the gate and say, hey, buy my stuff, because you're going to come off as pushy or salesy or aggressive, and it's unlikely that the vast majority of people are going to take you up on that offer. Meaning you want to have a soft offer in your toolkit, something like download my free guide or watch my free training, or something that allows you to introduce yourself to them, provide some value, and establish yourself as the authority. And that is going to move us nicely into the next thing we want to talk about here, which is when. Now, when we're looking at when, well, essentially this is going to dictate what kind of offer we're using. Whether we're using that hard offer or we're using a soft offer. And essentially what you want to do here is really map out the customer journey. And essentially the journey that they're going to have to go through in order from first learning about you to getting a little more familiar with you to really fully trusting you and wanting to do business with you. We refer to these as that know, like, and trust factor. Well, we want to be able to build these all out strategically. And it's really rare, in fact, it's normally a pretty bad idea that you just come out with someone who has no idea who you are and say, hey, buy my stuff, because we haven't built up that know, like, and trust factor. This is why you pretty much always want to incorporate some kind of marketing funnel in your business. Now, a marketing funnel is really just a way of kind of mapping out that customer journey, introducing yourself to them, providing some value, and giving them an opportunity to buy when it's right for them. If you're not familiar with marketing funnels, I'll make sure to link up a video on that in the cards and the description below, so you can check that out right after this video. Alright, so now that we've gone through the who, what, and when, well, now it's time to take a look at where. And this is where so many businesses go so wrong. And essentially what they end up doing is launching great campaigns in the completely wrong place, meaning they don't manage to reach their ideal customers, and therefore the campaign falls flat, they blame marketing, everybody gets angry, and it's just a lose-lose all around. The solution here is actually pretty simple, and all it really involves doing is taking a good look at your ideal customer avatar, that person that we identified in the who section, and then figuring out where they're present and active, whether online or offline, but for ease here, we're going to talk about online. Fortunately, finding out where to target them and reach them online is actually pretty simple, because most of the social media channels and online platforms are going to have some pretty detailed demographic usage details. Basically meaning that you can determine whether your ideal target market is going to be active on Facebook or Instagram or LinkedIn, or whether you'd be able to reach them with a podcast or so on and so forth. The beauty here is that by really dialing in where your market is and where they're not, well, it allows you to focus all your time, all your energy, and all your money only on the most effective and proven and valuable channels for you and your business and your customer, allowing you to ignore pretty much everything else. The reality is you don't need to do everything. You don't need to be everywhere. You just need to do the things and be the places where your customers are and where they're going to appreciate your content. Alright, so now that we've got who, we've got what, we've got when, and we've got where, it's time to move on to why. And this is really important because so many marketing campaigns get launched without a real clear goal and objective behind them. The problem here, like most things, is that if you just set out there to do some marketing, well, you're not really going to know if it was effective or not because you didn't really set things up ahead of time to track whether it was effective or not. This leads to marketing that, not surprisingly, is probably not going to be effective, and then blaming the channel or blaming marketing in general, rather than just blaming the fact that maybe we should have taken some time to really outline what we're trying to achieve and what's going to be the best tool to help us achieve that. For example, there's 3 very distinct and very different campaigns that you can run, whether we're talking about online or offline or whatever channel, but regardless, there's 3 different types. There's brand awareness, there's lead generation, and there's sales. All of these are going to require a slightly different strategic approach and possibly even a different mix of media and content and messaging and how you're going to put your stuff out there. For example, brand awareness campaign may be focused on putting out video view ads that really just tries to make your brand name synonymous with whatever market or industry you're in. Therefore, what you're going to do here is you're just going to try to target reach and essentially reach as many people of your ideal customer avatar as humanly possible. Lead gen, on the other hand, is going to have a very different measurable metric. What we're tracking here is basically how many leads we generate. So therefore, we're going to put out a very different message, and we're going to make sure that we're putting something in front of our ideal customer avatar that's going to get them to hand over their name and their email address or their phone or their contact details or whatever you're after. Basically, a lead gen campaign would be using a soft offer or a transitional offer so that you can make that hard offer later, which moves us perfectly into that third kind of campaign, which would be a sales generating campaign. Now, a sales generating campaign is obviously to generate sales. So we're going to track this by using revenue or profit or number of sales made or any metric that you want to assign to that. Where things get a little tricky though, and a little more complicated, is you can't just run sales campaigns all day, every day, because you're going to need to generate leads at some point, you're going to need to build that brand awareness. All of these things need to be run kind of in a systematic and strategic approach, ensuring that you don't just burn everybody out by constantly yelling sales messages at them, but on the other hand, you're not just always running brand awareness campaigns and never making any sales. All right, so we've got who, we've got what, we've got when, we've got where, we've even got why. Now it's time to talk about the how. Now, obviously, when it comes to marketing, there's a number of different tools and strategies and tactics and approaches you can use, and there really is no one size fits all. That said, there are a couple things you can do that are really going to dramatically improve your likelihood of success, and the large portion of that comes down to planning out your marketing campaign. Now, I get it. Marketing planning is boring. It doesn't sound fun at all. It sounds tedious. It includes things like research and talking to customers and trial and error and testing things, and all sorts of stuff nobody really wants to do. Which is why I would suggest, rather than creating a marketing plan, you use a marketing system. Essentially, what you want to do here is you want to go through everything that we've just talked about by identifying your ideal customer, figuring out what message is going to resonate with them, figuring out where you're going to reach them online, figuring out the sequence that you're going to walk them through, including soft offers and hard offers, and as well as really mapping out that perfect marketing campaign. You see, marketing plans they sound stagnant and stale, and they sound like as soon as you make one, well, it's going to be outdated the minute that it gets published, which is why you want an iterative and evolving marketing system that you can deploy in your business that's going to stay current with you and that can be applied again and again, no matter what kind of marketing you're trying to do. So if you're interested in installing a marketing system in your business that ends the pain and frustration associated with marketing once and for all, I'll make sure to link up my agency in the box below, which can help you create and install a marketing master plan of your very own. Alright, the next thing you're going to want to do is check out these two videos right here. The first is on Facebook advertising, which is easily one of the most effective and profitable forms of online ads available today, and the other is on Instagram marketing strategies for small business, which is going to give you even more actionable and practical tips on one of the most profitable and popular social media networks available today. So check those out now. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you next time on The Marketing Show.